Research Publication Award. Dr. Selvi was member of Anti-Ragging Committee, Youth Festival Committee, Examination Committee, BOS, BOE in Davangere University, as well as in Karnataka Akka Mahadevi Women University. Dr. Selvi given more than 10 lectures as a resource person. We feel so blessed to have you in our midst, madam. Over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, dear participants. Krupa in introducing me. Well, I thank Vichegowda sir for the opportunity. Is Chetan?
Yes, madam. You are audible, madam. You can. Yeah, you are audible, madam. You can continue, madam.
Okay. And the topic which I attempt to discuss with you now is ethics in teaching and research in social sciences. I'm very pleased to share my views and ideas in the ethics in teaching and research in social science. Chetan, go for next slide, please. Yeah. So here, please look at this topic in which we find 4 important conceptual terms. They are social sciences, ethics, teaching, and research. So you go for next, please. Social science. Let us try to understand what is meant by social science and the method. We should adapt in the education of social sciences. The disciplines were not classified into various subjects in the beginning stages under the disciplines called polity. The present social science subject were included. Social science means social science is a branch of science that deals with the institutions and functioning of human society and with the interpersonal relationships of individuals as a member of society. So studies in social science is very in social sciences is an academic faculty of the subject like history, economics, sociology, political sciences, law, etc. Provide the true knowledge of the nation and thus construct the right mindset, attitude of the people is that the strengthen of the nation. So studies in social sciences should be considered to be very important. Now, as try to explain the study of social sciences, follow the scientific approaches, the academic subjects like sociology, economics, history, political science, law are brought under the faculty of social sciences. Like we generally explain the concepts and the topics of social science subjects literally due to various reasons like the questions in the examination, completion of portions, etc. But in the interest of deeper and wider knowledge, we need to adapt the critical approach because the prescriptions on the theories and concepts keep on changing from time to time. For example, in history, archaeological and inscriptions are not sufficient. It is argued by the new historians that the author's subjective elements are always there in interpretation of the archaeological and inscriptions. In sociology, the social institutions like marriage, family, or caste, community, etc., are defined by various experts in variously like. In political sciences, in political science, the political institutions like panchayat system, democracy, republic, governs, etc., are differently defined in different contexts and countries. In economics, macroeconomics or microeconomics, agricultural production, distribution, taxation, market, etc., are also variously defined. Most of the economists economists, theories have come from the West. So critical interpretation of them are very essential. To give a critical knowledge, we need to consult as many reference books as possible. We must make notes very seriously and systematically with the details of the authors, titles of the books, page number, publishers, and year of publications. To go for the next slide, Chetan. Yes, not this one. Yeah. So in the education of that, the social sciences, a systematic and scientific approaches is not only important, but also mandatory. Why scientific approach is mandatory in social science education? Chetan, scientific approaches. One more, yeah. So that it is mandatory because it helps to create consciousness among the studies like social consciousness, political consciousness, economic consciousness, and legal consciousness. So now you are raise the question for that what is consciousness? So the consciousness means the consciousness awareness about various institutions and ideologies in that the respective subjects. For example, sociology like marriage, political science, constitution, demography, etc. Though these consciousness, mindset, attitude towards the social institutions, political institutions, economic institutions, and legal institutions is created through such mindsets, nation building is motivated and promoted. Go for next slide, Chetan. Yes, ethics. So ethics is when most people think of ethics, they think of rules for distinguish between right and wrong, such as golden rules, a code of professional conduct like the Hippocratic Oath. Most people learn ethical norms at home, at school, or in other social settings. Although most people acquire their sense of right and wrong, development occurs throughout life and human beings pass through different stages of growth as they mature. Ethical norms are so ubiquitous that one might be tempted to regard them as simple consciousness. On the other hand, if morality were nothing more than consciousness, then why are there so many ethics? Another way of defining ethics focuses on the disciplines that study standards of conduct, such as philosophy, technology, law, psychology, or sociology. For example, a medical ethics is someone who studies ethical standards in medicine. One may also define ethics as a method, procedure, or perspective for deciding how to act, and for analyzing complex problems and issues. For instance, in considering a complex issue like global warming, one may take on economic, ecological, political, or ethical perspective on the problem, while an economist might examine the cost and benefits of various policies related to global warming. An environmental ethic could examine the ethical values and principles at stake. Many different disciplines, institutions, and professions have standards for behavior that suit their particular aims and goals. These standards also help members of the discipline to coordinate their actions or activities and to establish the public's trust of the discipline. For instance, Ethical standards govern conduct in medicine, law, engineering, and business. Norms also serve the aims or goal of research and apply to people who conduct scientific research or other scholarly or creative activities. There is even a specialized discipline see glossary of commonly used terms in research ethics. There are several reasons why it is important to the ethical norms in research. First, norms promote the aim of research, such as knowledge, truth, and avoidance of errors. For example, prohibitions against fabricating or misrepresenting research data promote the truth and minimize error. Second one is, since research often involves a great deal of cooperation and coordination among many different people in different disciplines and institutions. Ethical standards promote the values that are essential to collaborate work, such as trust, accountability, mutual respect, and fairness. For example, many ethical norms in research, such as guidelines for authorship, copyright, and patenting policies, data sharing policies, and confidentiality rules in peer review are designed to protect intellectual property interests while encouraging collaboration. Most researchers want to receive credit for their contributions and do not want to have their ideas stolen or disclosed permanently. Thirdly, many of the ethical norms help to ensure that researchers can be held accountable to the public. For instance, federal policies on research misconduct, conflict of interest, the human subjects, protections, and animal care and use are necessary in order to make sure that researchers who are funded by public money can be held accountable to the public. Fourth one is, like, ethical norms in research also help to building public support for research. People are more likely to fund a research project if they can trust the quality and integrity of research. Finally, many of the norms of research promote a variety of other important moral and social values, such as social responsibility, human rights, animal welfare, compliance with the law, and public health and safety. Ethical lapses in research can significantly harm human and animal subjects, students, and the public. For example, a researcher who fabricates data in a clinical trial may harm over, even kill patents, and a researcher who fails to abide by regulations and guidelines relating to ration, the radiations or biological safety may his health and safety or the health and safety of staff and students. So the next one is like the codes and policies for research ethics. Given the importance of ethics for the conduct of research, it should come as no surprise that many different professional associations, government agencies, and universities have adopted the specific codes or rules and policies relating to research ethics. Many government agencies, such as the National Institute of Health, the National Science Foundation, the Food and Drug Administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, and US Department of Agriculture have ethics rules for funded researchers. Other Influential research ethics policies include Singapore Statement on Research Integrity, the American Chemical Society, the Chemist Professionals Code of Conduct, Code of Ethics, and American Psychological Association, Ethical Principles of Psychologists and Code of Conduct, Statement on Professional Ethics, and the numbering code, and the World Medical Association Declaration of Helsinki. The following is that the rough and general summary of some ethical principles that various code address. Honesty. So strive for honesty in all scientific communications. Honesty report data, results, methods, and procedures. And publications status. Do not fabricate, falsify, or misrepresent data. Do not deceive the collegious, research spawners, or the public. So objectivity. Objectivity is strive to avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis, data interpretation, peer review, personal discussions, grant writing, expert testimony, and other aspects of research where objectivity is expected or required. Avoid or minimize bias or self-deceptions, disclose personal or financial interest, they may affect research. Integrity, keep your promises and agreements, act with sincerity, strive for consistency of thought and action. Carefulness, avoid careless errors and negligence. Carefully and critically examine your own work and the work of your peer. Keep good records of research activities such as data collection, research design, and correspondence with agencies or journals. Openness, share data, results, ideas, tools, resources. Be open to criticism and new ideas. Respect for intellectual property, honor patents, copyrights, and other forms of intellectual property. Do not use unpublished data, methods, or results without permissions. Give proper acknowledgement or credit for all contributions to research. Never plagiarize. Confidentially. Protect confidential communications such as paper or grants submit for publication, personal records, trade or military secrets, and patent records. Responsible publications. Publish in order to advance research and scholarship, not to advance just your own career. Avoid wasteful and duplicate publications. So, like that the ethics. So ethics, it's deals like whether in case of ethics in general, like here, then the classroom ethics. Classroom ethics. First one is here that the classroom ethics is very, very important, like in punctuality. Punctuality is a very important classroom ethics. A teacher should go to the class in time and leave the class in time. He or she must not under or lower work. The second one is update or latest information collecting. The teacher update himself or herself by collecting the latest information and provide the same to that the students also. The teacher should involve the students is discussion in the classroom. Like the teacher should clearing the doubts and questions of students aptly. Like for the in that the work of internet and Google, the teacher may tempted to borrow notes from the ready-made texts in that the net or Google. Sometimes the information and data may superficial. So it is better to depend on the printed scholarly books or articles for our preparation. Then the human elements with students. Most of the time, a teacher, well-prepared lecturer may not be grasped by the students due to overreached, indifferent, and way of teaching. Let us be friendly in the way of lecturing. So the teacher should completion of allotted portions in time, like honesty, like whether in case of the teacher should completion of allotted portions in time. Then go for next slide, Chetan.
Yes,
Yes.
madam. Yes, madam.
Yes, thank you. Research in social sciences. So science is to primary aim of the research in social sciences is expose the false or fake knowledge in the concerned subject and establish the knowledge of fact scientifically. The researcher should collect the original data honestly. Then the researcher should analyze the data objectively. The researcher provide the research finding scientifically. The researcher should show the social relevant in the suggestions and the recommendations. Isma, go for next. Yes, this is like whether in case of that the last part of my my lecture. So that what is that the miscount in research. One must remember the following miscount in research. The researcher should not steal the data from others. Nowadays, it is observed that the data of others is stolen without acknowledging the sources as if his or her own data. The researchers should not copy the analysis and the interpretation of the data from others. The researchers should not provide socially irrelevant suggestions and the recommendations. Like the researcher publish his research paper in the predatory journals. These journals will not have editorial boards, and these journals do not edit and correct the paper submitted by the researchers. They publish only for the money purpose, so it is not only the business. The researcher should not publish the same paper in more than one journal. The researcher should not include co-authors without any co-research from them. There are some of the unethical practices in research in social sciences. They must be avoided. In my discussion, I have tried to highlight ethics that must be followed and unethical practices that must be avoided in teaching and research in social sciences. And there are many other activities that the government does not define as misconduct, but which are still regarded by most researchers as unethical. These are sometimes referred as other deviations from acceptable research practices and include publishing the same paper in two different journals without telling the editors and submitting the same paper to different journals without telling the editors and not informing a collaborator of your intent of file a patent in order to make sure that you are the sole inventor, including colleagues as an author on a paper in return for a favor, even though the colleagues did not make a serious contribution to the paper. Then, discussing with your colleagues confidential data, from a paper that you are reviewing for a journal. Use data, ideas, or methods you learn about while reviewing a grant or a papers without permission. So, trimming outlines from a data set without discussing your reasons in paper, using an inappropriate statistical technique in order to enhance the significance of your research, bypassing the peer review process and announcing your result through a press conference without giving fair, adequate information to review work. Conducting a review of the literature that fails to acknowledge the contributions of other people in the field or relevant career work. Stretching that the truth on a grant application in order to convince reviewers that your project will make a significant contribution to the field. Stretching the truth on a job application or curriculum vitae. Given the same research project to graduate students in order to see who can it in the fastest overworking, neglecting or exploiting graduate or postdoctoral students, failing to keep good research records, failing to maintain research data for a responsible period of time, then making the comments and personal attack in your review of author's submission, promising a student a better grade for sexual favor, using receipts epics in the laboratory, making significant deviations from the research protocol approved by your institution's animal care and use committee or institutional reviews board of human subject research without telling the committee or the board, not reporting on adverse event in a human research experiment, wasting animals in research, exposing students and staff to biological risks in violation of your institution's biosafety rules, sabotating someone's work, stealing supplies, books, or data, rigging an experiment so you know how it will turn out, making unauthorized copies of data, papers, or computer programs. These actions would be regarded as unethical by most scientists, and some might even be illegal in some cases. So in my discussion, I have tried to highlight ethics that must be followed and unethical practices that must be avoided in teaching and research in social science. Yes, Chetan, the last slide. Yeah. So I concluded my presentation with a request to all the participants to follow ethics and avoid unethical practices in our subjects. In teacher's life, there are only two colors in a teacher's life. One is white, like chalk, and another one is black, that means blackboard. But these two colors, teacher makes their students' life colorful. In these words, I conclude my talk. Thank you one and all. Due to some other work in that the department and constrained my talk, if you has any questions, that floor is open for discussion, but actually I don't have time. I was attending for one more function in our department. So thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, madam. On behalf of Department of Studies in Economics, as well as Research Scholars Forum, as well as all the participants who have actually had the pleasure and privilege of attending your session, we wholeheartedly thank you for giving us, throwing light about ethics and the importance of ethics in both classroom as well as research, despite your hectic schedule. We wholeheartedly thank you for your concern and time. Madam, can we take questions or you don't have time?
No, Chetan, sorry.
No issues, madam, no issues.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
No issues, madam. Since...
We have one more function in our department, no?
Yes, madam, yeah.
I was joining to there also, so that's why.
Okay, madam, no issues.
Okay,
Since Professor Selvi madam has some other commitments, we will not be taking any questions as of now, and we should give leave for the professor, as we have another function which is actually arranged by the department. So with your permission, I shall be ending the session now, madam. Actually, there are some instructions which I am supposed to give to the participants, and the instructions are as follows. The second session will actually be on the essentials which are actually required to be a good researcher. It will actually be engaged by, a professor of, just a second, we'll just inform what is going to happen. So, yeah, the next session is scheduled to be held at 11:45, and it is going to be held by Professor D. Krishnamurthy. Professor D. Krishnamurthy, who is actually, as of now, serving in anyway, Dr. R. Krishnamurthy, who is going to engage another session from 11:45 onwards. And sir is actually going to deal with essentials of good research report. So that is the thing. And the third session, which was supposed to be chaired by Huchegowda sir, we will not be having the third session today. Instead of third session, we shall be having valedictory function from 3:30 to 4:30. The details of valedictory function, along with the brochure and all that, will be posted in a WhatsApp group for the kind reference of all the participants and the faculties as well as the scholars involved. So the first session has been concluded. The second session is going to be held from 11:45 to 1:30 or something like 11:45 to 1:30 or something like that. 11:45 to 1:30, 11:45 to 1:15 or 1:30, depending upon the discussion. And we will not be having the third session. Huchegowda sir was supposed to preside on third session, but that will not be the case. We will be having the third session will be converted to valedictory function, and the valedictory function will actually be presided by Suchitra madam, and it will be the guest of honor will actually be Professor Selvi madam as well as Professor Huchegowda sir. And the valedictory speech shall actually be given by Registrar of Venkateshwara University, Ballari. So H.C. Patil sir is actually H.C. Patil sir, who is actually the registrar, will be giving the valedictory address. So that will be from 3:30 to 4:30, and all the information pertaining to that will actually be updated in a WhatsApp group. So that's it for now, and we request all the participants to join again by 11:40. We will be starting the session by 11:45. And as far as the certificates are concerned, and as far as the eligibility for certificates are concerned, whatever I'm telling, the information will again be reiterated in WhatsApp group. But nonetheless, just for the information, I'm just telling. So thing is, as far as the certificates are concerned, the participants and the faculties are actually requested to fill two feedback forms. Two feedback forms are supposed to be filled. One is actually one feedback form is actually released by ICSSR. ICSSR, they have their own format, So we will actually create a Google form link, which is actually going to be submitted directly to ICSSR. And that feedback link, all the participants are supposed to fill. And there will be the second feedback link, which is actually going to be sent by the department. So there will be two feedback links. One feedback which the department is actually going to submit to ICSSR, and all the participants are requested to fill that. And we will be having one more feedback link. The another feedback link is actually going to be sent by the department for the department. Department is actually working on a research paper, which we are actually planning to send to Japan, which is indexed in both Scimago as well as Scopus. And so that is basically a thing. And for that, we will be collecting data. And for that, we will be having a separate feedback form. And all the participants are actually requested to fill the feedback form. So there will be two feedback forms. One, which the department will be submitting to ICSSR. And the second is, as all the participants will be aware, as all the faculties will be aware, that National Education Policy is planning to integrate. National Education Policy is planning to integrate data sciences among social sciences as well. So when the data sciences is supposed to be integrated in social sciences, obviously the training and the faculty development program will be actually conducted by the government institutions in order to upgrade as well as update the faculties. So what we are doing is, what the Department of Economics is actually doing is, we are taking this ICSSR sponsored program as a pilot survey. So this thing will actually be taken as a pilot survey, and we will actually, the research paper which we are designing and the data which we want to collect from the participants are, we would like to know the variables on which we are going to collect the data will actually help us to write a research paper, policy oriented research paper, so that we can actually understand what were the difficulties, what were the measures if we had taken, it could have been done in a better manner, and all that. So it will be a precision oriented policy driven research paper, which we are actually planning to publish in IFR, which is actually based on Japan, and whose editor are from America. And it has an attrition rate of 95%. So 100 papers which are actually submitted for that, 95 papers will be rejected, only 5 papers will be accepted. So on that Japan, IFR, Scopus and Scimago indexed journal, we are actually planning to send this. And it is, the recommendations will also be sent to the ICSSR as well. So that is basically a thing. So the basic thing is, and we also know that assignment 6 to assignment 14, the questions are actually repeated, and we couldn't actually it was a technical flaw on the team, and so as of now it is actually too late. We cannot do much now, but nonetheless 30 assignments are there, and in 30 assignments 6 to 14 are repeated. It is a technical flaw on the part of team, and it is technical flaw part of myself actually. It is a problem which I created actually. So thing is, I humbly apologize for the mistake which has been committed by me. It is not the team's fault. It is, I was actually in charge of the technical stuff, but the thing is, I was attending some exam, and because of that, I couldn't do justice for that, and I sincerely apologize for that. So here, in order to be eligible for certificate, these are the points which the people are supposed to, which the faculties and the participants are supposed to do. We know that the participants and the faculties were attending their, classroom duties as well. We also have seen that people have attended YouTube lectures. So taking these points into consideration, and as per the directives given by the course director, we will not be too much rigid on the attendance part. But the thing is, in order to be eligible for the certificate assignment, we are very much rigid on assignment stuff. So thing is 6 to 14 are repeated, but nonetheless we will be having 31 assignments in total. So in 31 assignments, at least 24 assignments, at least 24 assignments we require the participants to have answered for. So assignment wise, at least 24 assignments people must have answered. And the feedback forms, one will be for the department feedback form and the other will be the feedback form for ICSSR. The department feedback form will be actually used for research, and none of your names will actually be used. Only the data will be used for research and name will be anonymous. And even that will be posted by Huchegowda sir in another 1 or 2 days. So thing is, in 1 or 2 days, we will actually send both the form, one for ICSSR and one for the departmental research. And we request all the participants to actually, fill all the necessary details of both the forms. And once you actually fill all the 2 forms, and once the people have actually done assignment, at least 24 assignments, then you shall be technically eligible for the certificate. And certificate will be given in online mode, and it will be sent directly to the mail ID of the participants within 1 week. So within 1 week, and the eligibility condition for drawing the certificate will be that that the esteemed faculties and the participants must have completed at least 24 assignments. And on top of that, they should have filled both the feedback form, one for ICSSR and the second is departmental research stuff. So provided these 3 conditions are met, we are actually going to disperse the certificates. We know that the participants have their own schedule, and we also know that the participants have taken advantage of YouTube lectures as well. So we are not going to be that much rigid on the attendance part. We are not going to be rigid, but we are definitely going to be rigid on the assignment part. We are going to be very much rigid. At least 24 assignments must be submitted, and the feedback form, since it is a ICSSR funded program, we are supposed to give the feedback of the participants to ICSSR, and we don't want this to be an end in itself. The department is actually planning to collect the data and do a policy national, for the sake of national education policy. We are actually planning to write a research paper. So for that, we require research data from the esteemed participants. So we humbly request that you please actually submit both the feedback links. So that is the thing. Once only these 3 things are done, only then the certificate will be dispersed to the participants. And on top of that, from 3:30 to 4:30, we will be having valedictory function. And for the valedictory function, we have got some 7 to 8 participants who are actually willing to share their feedback, share their experience, and even that provision shall be made. And even on top of that, if any other participants feel like sharing their experience, we will actually accommodate even those participants as well. And so that is basically the thing. And the participants are requested to cut down their time which they actually take in order to share their experience for 1 to 2 minutes. So 1 to 2 minutes during valedictory, 1 to 2 minutes you just share your experience, and the remaining stuff the participants will be able to share in a comprehensive manner via feedback forms, like 2 feedback forms, and both the feedback forms will actually be posted by course director Huchegowda sir in another 2 days. And the certificate will be released in another 1 week. It will be emailed. It is going to be done in online manner, and all these certificates will actually be done in online manner, dispersed to the respective email IDs of the participants. And we are very much sorry that actually our department is hosting one more offline program, and that is why professors were in a bit hurry actually, because we are simultaneously hosting one more program, which is actually offline program by the department. So the last session, the previous session, Professor Selvi Madam, she couldn't actually give the time which she normally would have given because Madam is also actively involved in that program as well. So thing is, we are deeply sorry for that. But nonetheless, from 11:45 to 1:15, the session will be a comprehensive session, which will be actually taken by Dr. Krishnamurthy sir. And even we will be having discussion as well. So thing is, we humbly request all the people to come at 11:40. And the next session will not start at 2:30. The session will start at 3:30. It will not be headed by Huchegowda sir. It will actually be a valedictory function. So thing is, we request all the participants to grace the valedictory function as you people have actively participated all the previous session and all that. And the feedback link will be actually given in 2 to 3 days. The certificates, provided you people have done 24, people have actually submitted 24 assignments and all the 2 feedback forms. The thing is, the certificates will be dispersed to your respective email IDs after 1 week. So that is the thing. And all the points I have told, it will also be posted once again in the WhatsApp group so that there are no confusions. And if there are any confusions, we will actually send 2 WhatsApp number, one pertaining mine and the other pertaining Huchegowda sir. So if any other things are there, we are always open for networking and communication. If any doubts are there, the doubts will definitely be clarified. So that is the thing. As of now, we are actually ending the session now. We are ending the session now, and the session will be restarted. The session will be restarted by 11:40. 11:45, we will be having Krishnamurthy sir. Even that will be a very interesting session, and sir will actually be dealing with the essentials of a good researcher. So that is the thing. So we request all the participants to log in again by 11:40. 11:45, we will be having our second session. So thank you very much. We highly, on behalf of Department of Studies in Economics and Research Scholars Forum, we thank you very much for your patience, and we humbly request you to rejoin by 11:40. 11:45, we will be having the second session. Thank you very much, one and all. By 11:45, we'll be having the second session. By 11:40, we request all the people to rejoin back. And we will be ending the session now. So that is the thing. Bye and take care. And please rejoin, all the esteemed faculties, rejoin by 11:40.